Erika Gee is an attorney with Wright Lindsey Jennings. She's also former chief of staff to former Arkansas Attorney General Destin McDaniel. She is here to talk with us about a very buzzworthy topic. See how I work those things in there.
The puns, they just keep on coming.
You know, if we're going to talk about marijuana, I am going to work a pun in every chance that we get. We're going to have a blunt conversation about this
yeah,
stuff.
that's good. Get into the weeds.
Let's talk about Attorney General, U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions issues a Department of Justice directive late in the week to do exactly what?
Well, what he did was to roll back what the Department of Justice had done under the Obama administration. The way the Obama administration had handled the legalization of marijuana in multiple states. It started with Colorado, of course, but it's now up to 8 have legalized recreational marijuana. And this federal government through the Department of Justice, had taken the position that as long as you aren't selling to kids or selling across state lines, they're not going to use federal resources to prosecute that, even though it is illegal under federal law.
And so Sessions wants enforcement of this now at this point, so that reversal of the Obama rule, as you mentioned. How does this impact Arkansas's medical marijuana industry and other states that have medical marijuana?
Well, the focus and the discussion has really been on recreational use. They call it adult use marijuana. And in these states that have done that, and as the governor pointed out in reaction to Sessions rescinding a memo, it really thinks that these two types of use and legalization should really be treated differently. So there's 28 states plus the District of Columbia that have legalized medical use.
Right.
And I think most people expect, and I expect, that any action on the federal government's part is really going to focus on the recreational states.
Which will stir quite some controversy in states like Colorado and California, some of those western states. I know earlier last year when I got to do a Skype question in the White House, I actually asked about the administration's position on that.
I remember that.
And it created for weeks, my Google feed was just populating with reaction to that.
I think you were the first reporter to get a response from the administration on it.
All right, so what are some scenarios of how this might play out? You could have, I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of legal action to try to stop enforcement of this. You've got the congressional action. What else could possibly happen?
Well, I think the first question is whether any of the U.S. attorneys in these states are going to take some kind of action, and if so, what kind of action would they take? And that's an open question. I mean, there isn't anything I've seen of any U.S. attorney who's stepped forward and said, we plan to pursue a case against XYZ. Right. As a matter of fact, the statements that I've seen have been very non-committal.
Right. Cody Highland, the new U.S. attorney here in the Eastern District of Arkansas, was we're going to enforce the law and take a look
just
at
like we always have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
And that's what the U.S. attorney in Colorado said.
Yeah.
Is we're going to keep doing it the way we've always done it. We're going to enforce the law. Right. So that's question number one. I think that I would expect some action from the attorney generals in some of these states, and particularly Washington Attorney General has been pretty active in response, even in this short time period. And the Attorney General in Colorado is actually a Republican, and she issued a very strong statement too. So if there was to be some movement on the federal government's part against these states, I think that's something we'd see.
And Congress could remedy this situation by basically finding a way to, I don't know all the technical aspects of it, but basically making marijuana a substance that is not prosecutable.
Yes. They could.
Yeah.
That hasn't gotten any traction so far.
Right.
And this may be something that would spur some action on it. There is an amendment that has been attached to the budget for several years where the Department of Justice is not allowed to spend federal money to pursue prosecution of medical marijuana related offenses. There's some question about whether that will continue or not. It's been up in the air, and that's something that might get some more support behind it in response to Sessions' decision.
We'll see how this plays out. We'll see how things, if it has any impact on Arkansas. Erika Gee, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here. All right. When we come back, we're going to talk politics with Steve Bronner. There's some new developments in the Arkansas governor's race. We'll talk about that when we come back.